Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today we have a bit of a hop. We're using a digital image from Joy Claire Designs. So I picked out this little image called Snowy Greetings. So this is how it comes, and what I've done is I've used a computer program to basically add it all together. So I am going to colour these with my Copics. There's not an awful lot of colouring, but this card evolved as we went along. So we are going to start with his hat today, where we're going to use the Copic 110. C9, C7 and C5, and we're going to leave a highlight through the center of his hat, because a lot of these dudes have little black, in my image, because I don't actually have any snow around me, and our Christmas here in Australia is obviously not wintertime for us. So to me, he's got to have a little black hat. So we're giving a center highlight, as I said, and I just touch up on the outside of the images to make it really nice and dark. And with now I'm probably going to have a couple of flapping arms every now and then, because what happened was while I coloured this, I was actually talking to some friends in a bit of a Zoom catch up. So for his carrot, where is it? We're going to use a YR18, and I'm not going to do any blending or anything with him, so it's just going to be straight. The scarf, I'm using B97, 95 and 93. And we're going to end up with a little bit of definition in him. We're going to give a little bit of a fold. Not really a fold, but a fold in the material. So we're going to add a little bit to the design of it. All these colours and the Copic markers that I use and everything are also going to be listed over on my blog. So feel free to hop over there. The information will be linked below. So Joy Claire Design, as I said, this is a hop for Joy Claire Design. It's a hashtag hop. Let's try saying that too many times. So it's hashtag Team Tiny Christmas in July. And there's actually also a bit of a special, so I'll have a code down in the description box there for a 20% off from the 25th until the 28th for stamps only, except like the last call section in the store. So it's not available on last call, the dies or the stencils, but she's got some very, very cute little stamps. Now I left this in. I ummed out about leaving this in, trying to make it shorter, but I left this in because I coloured the snowman to have his shadows in a C4, C2 and the O. But I actually changed my mind. So you'll see in a little bit, after a while, I'll change it, and I actually have 4 colours, and they are B45, 41, BV31, and BG70. Again, it's all going to be linked over on the blog, so you can see exactly what I've used, because I decided to give the snow a bit of that blue colour. And the first two, so this is the BV17 and BV31, that I actually just use it like a dotting motion. So they're not blended in at all, but they're super light, so it gives it a nice little texture to the snow. And I only really did it on the edges. I didn't worry about his stomach or anything like that, like the center of the design. So just up underneath his scarf and around the edges. I think that's pretty much where all that I did. But I thought it would just give it a nice little blue. So all the snow is going to be in these 4 colours. As I said, I did colour this and then decided it was too plain. Even though there's a bit going on with the snow and everything else, it didn't feel right. So we're actually going to make this into a shaker card. So there is a bit of pulling things off. There is a little bit of trimming things down, and we made it into a shaker card. So we're just colouring, giving the snow, and I just, for some reason, that came flying at me, but I obviously knocked it because I'm actually wearing a hoodie. And if you don't know what a hoodie is, Google it. They are awesome. But it keeps them nice and warm, especially here. As I said, it's winter time, so it's a little bit cold. And I have a 2-story house. So I'm giving a little bit of definition around, so it's not just flat. So there I've got a little bit of a slope because the snow is going to be bumpy. It's going to be here, there and everywhere. We're also going to use a bit of the Paper Rose hillside border. You probably could just rip off some paper and add this, but I wanted to do the hillside border just to give it a play and see what happens. So we're going to die cut that and put some of that into, but that's some of the part that actually comes out. You can still see it in the card. The card is right here. But it's just a little bit of that different texture, a little bit. Yeah. So some of that you're not actually going to see that I've just done. Now I like that, but I just decided I wanted more. So my holly is YG6763, and I think I used the R27 on the red. And again, one colour, the same as the carrot, one colour and that's it. And the brown was E47 for his little pipe. Again, I'm not going to play around with it. So this is where I've got the Paper Rose hillside border. So I've die cut this out. As I said, it gets evolving, and even some of this, you can still at the end of the video, you'll have close-up photos of the card, and you'll be able to see. And there'll be more on my blog, of course, too. You'll be able to see some of this definition that I've given. And it's not quite so bright because what we're going to do is we're going to use a snow pen. So if you've never used a snow pen, it is really, really cool. Hang on, I'll just grab mine. There's my snow pen. So it is a snow marker. And what it is, it goes on, it's quite broad. This one's, I don't know whether you can get other colours, but it's relatively broad tip to it. And then when you heat it up, excuse my hair, I was getting very engrossed in this. And once you heat it up, you'll see it bumps up. It raises up for a lot of cool definition. So I'm going to raise this up. As I said, it really is involving because I decided I didn't like it with the flat. Well, I like it, don't get me wrong. It's perfectly acceptable. But I decided that it was not quite what I wanted. So I'm going to trim off this, and I will off camera put a little bit more foam dots underneath it, purely because I was a little bit off screen and I was trying to cut the time down for you. So that's that. So I'm going to add a little bit more just on the edge, but when all the fluff and everything else, all the sequins and everything, because I said we're making it into a little shaker, it's not a massive, there's not an awful lot in it because I didn't want to lose all the design. But you can actually see this part that I'm putting in. All this part you can sort of see to a point. So we're going to glue him flat. And I'm really liking that, but it still didn't, sometimes things just don't feel like it feels right and everything else, but it just didn't feel finished. So that's our card at that point. We're just going to extend some of our snow lines out. So there was a couple of different images in here, and I used a program I think called GIMP that you can play around with. It's not something I've done an awful lot to. And I did have some advice from the lovely Tara O'Brien. I think it's O'Brien. Oh, she'll kill me. Here's our pen. So Tara. So first drop came out and it was a great big, but I just wiped it off with a tissue, so it was nice and easy. So if you look hard, you can see this, but it's not much. Now I was dotting along to see if I like the technique of just like stippled through it, but I will go back through it a couple of times and actually fill those in a little bit. So you can see there it's starting to, with some heat, it raises up. So we're going to add a few more bits in. So yeah, so Tara was helping me to learn what to do basically. So I think first off I started using the GIMP, and then I moved it over to the Silhouette Studio program, which was awesome. So this is where we've decided to put some foam dots. So I've cut some of that out just to try and save on time, because I don't like to jump ahead, but then I like to keep it short. So darned if I do and darned if I don't. This is where I sort of went, you've stuffed up in the sense of you need to add some more. So I've made a frame with some acetate using Paper Rose. They're Australian A6 size rectangles. So they fit an Aussie A6. Yeah, I had to stop and think. But an Aussie A6 card. So ours is, so I've die cut those and I've made a little frame out of the same rectangles. Out of the largest rectangle, I've done my acetate, which is up there on the side, which I remembered before I actually put my frame back down. And I've only used a little bit of the Uniquely Creative sequins and just trimmed that off a little bit, because I probably got it on crooked, but it's not going to matter. I'm not going to do anything with the frame apart from use the some Stampin' Up! Fine glue. So on the background, I'm going to use this Lawn Fawn Watercolor Wishes paper. Now, I originally had some that was cut to 14.4 by 10 centimeters. This is all Aussie centimeters, but I needed it to be a little bit bigger. So we've cut another piece, some 14.8 by 10.5 centimeters. And that is basically the Aussie A6 card front base. So there's not a lot, and I could have cut the center out and used it for the another thing in the middle, but I was probably too busy talking, let's be honest. But that's what I would normally do. I'd cut out the center and save the center, because you're not going to see it at all. You're just going to have this thin border. And that's going to be pretty much the card. This is where I'm going to put it on. I forgot some stickles. So we're going to add some stickles just on top of the acetate and let that dry. And that is pretty much the card. So it's a very soft, sweet. It's got a bit happening, but it's very soft. So all the information is going to be on my blog, which is going to be linked down below. There'll also be a link to Joy Claire Designs and the code. So feel free, hop over to the next person using the hashtag. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.